Well, hello, everybody. I know Teresa's in here because she told me she was here. um, so welcome to Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona. This is Sandi. Um, and I hope we have a fun time tonight. It is Monday night, and we are talking about packing up and going home. We have really just 2.5 weeks before we are out of here. We're going back home. And besides Teresa, Ann is in here. Charmaine is here. Julie's here. And Carol's here. Hello, ladies. How are ya? Joe's outside. He's spray painting. But my computer. Spray painting a new toolbox that one of the neighbors gave him. So he's kind of excited about that. And he ordered some new hinges for it so that it would latch good. So I'm sure they'll get here before we go back to Wyoming. Which, speaking of Wyoming, today, starting today through Wednesday morning, guess what? 2 feet of snow. That's what it's supposed to be, 2 feet of snow back home. We'll see if we get that much. But also Rapid City is supposed to get that. And then as it moves across, it's just going to get more and more snow. So that's why we are not leaving this week. Thank you so much. It will be, it'll be fun. I'm so excited about being home. Not that this isn't home too, but whenever we talk, it's still when we go home or this is at home. It's just one of those crazy things. Probably because we spend more time there and we've lived there for a long, long time. It's our anniversary this month. So next week, next Monday, I'll talk about it because it's the day after. It's the 11th. And so I will talk about that. But in the meantime, if you're one of my members, I'm writing all my Easter cards tonight and mailing them in the morning. So if you don't think I have your address, bumping my computer again. Craziness. Make sure that you send me an email. Let me find my little thing with the banner. Make sure that you send me an email with your address because I have new members and I don't have their addresses. And so if you guys would do that for me, that would be just awesome. Henry and Leslie, Vermont, how are you? Saying hi to everybody. Thank you so much for popping in. And tonight we're talking about packing up and going home. Now, today, I was cutting up those pumpkins that I have. It was about the end of October. And I did these decorations, fall decorations, one for me, one for my mom. And I put succulents and mosses and curly decorations and all kinds of stuff on these pumpkins because I like to decorate them like that. And then mine literally sat outside all winter long. Mom gave me back hers, was before Christmas. And they both have been just sitting outside. Hard as a rock. I'd pound on them every once in a while to see how they were. And I cut them open today. Now, one of them, the gray one, I took all the seeds out, scooped all the stuff, and I cooked it in the oven today. It smelled fantastic. It's one of those smells that you forget until it's fall time and you're harvesting again. But it was a fabulous smell. And I took all the seeds because I'm going to save those. I'm drying those. And it took about an hour and 15 minutes at 350 in my oven to soften up because the flesh was thick. And so I'm so excited about that. What about my trees? They're coming home with me. Yep, I got them all ready to go. I've been watering them every couple days. They're in sawdust and some vermiculite, some perlite, and a little bit of soil. And I'm at about 50% that already have leafed out. And those were the ones that I had grafted first. Those buckets, they're leafed out all over. In fact, one has a flower on it. And Ann is here. Hello, young lady. Please tell those girls I said hello. Now, anyway, so I'm cutting my pumpkin today because I want to either save the seeds, cook up the pumpkin so I can use it before I go because we're packing up and getting ready to go home, or am I throwing them in the trash? But look at this little video when I cut one of them open. Look it had plants growing in it. So I saved 7 of them, and the the other ones, either because I didn't realize there was live plants in my pumpkin when I started scooping it out. So there were ones that I broke. And so, oh, Paul is here. Hey, Paul, how are ya? He's going to be in and out of the chat as I'm currently working, but definitely listening. Awesome. How are you moving everything back and forth? Truck, car, trailer on the back. We have a truck. It's so we put Reagan in the back seat, and then I'll have all of my trees that are in the 5-gallon buckets. Then I have some tomato plants that are in soda cups, like you would get at the 7-Eleven or Circle K, whatever. I put the tomatoes in there, and then those I'll put in between some of the trees for a couple reasons. One, I already have that space taken up by the trees. Plus, it makes the trees so that they really can't move and jostle around. Not that they would move too much anyway, but I gotta bring those. And I have garlic to bring, and some zucchini and amaryllises and toothache plants and lemon trees. Now, we basically have clothes down here and have clothes back home. So other than what we use in the 2 or 3 days, depending on how long we take to drive home, we will pack those, but we don't take the rest of our clothes. I brought a bunch of my art supplies down here so that I didn't have to bring them back and forth each time. The only one that I'm going to bring back is I'm going to bring my watercolors because they go in a little tote. They don't take up very much room, and the watercolor paper doesn't take up very much room. And my little bag with pastels, I'll take that home. But all my acrylic paint and my oil paints and all the rest of those canvases, I'm just leaving down here. So I don't have that in the truck. There's some tools that Joe brings back and forth, but it's getting less and less and less that we just have tools both places. So it's just one of those things you just get used to because you only have so much space in the truck. And Joe doesn't want to take a trailer. And so we're just not going to do that. And Barb is here. Hello, Barb. How are you? And Teresa is here. And so everybody is just saying hi to everybody. That is awesome. But if you don't know what a toothache plant is, I've been growing these in the hydroponics, but I am going to lift them up tomorrow, and I'm going to plant them in some of those soda cups that I've saved, and so I can bring them home. But this is a toothache plant. And that flower, the flower especially, but though the leaves will do it too, they literally numb your mouth. And that's why they call it a toothache plant. So if you had a toothache, you could literally chomp on that flower and your entire mouth goes numb. Now, not for a huge amount of time, but I also take those flowers and I make tinctures with them because the plant actually will get really, not really tall, but really wide with lots and lots of flowers because it grows in like Central America, South America, but even the leaves you can take, and there's chefs around the world that chop them up and add them into your salad, so it gives you this tingly effect when you're eating your salad, which is kind of fun. Carol says, let me take that down first. Once again, how to get channel to show in chat. See, my brain is not working. You type, let me do my little thing. Channel. So you type channel and then Nightbot, if it is working correctly. I don't know if it'll let me do that. So, oh, there it goes. See? Okay, so I first I put it channel, and then Nightbot puts my channel. So if you guys like, Anne is putting channel, Barb put channel. If you do it too quick with each other, Nightbot picks one of them. So, Anne, type channel again, and it will pop yours up. But it's a fun thing so that if you had moderators, they don't have to do it for you. Anybody can just type channel and it will pop up for them, which is it's kind of nice because you might see people in the chat that you see over and over again, and you'd like to have a link to their channel. So it's just one of those things. Like Paul wrote channel, and now it shows his channel. I actually really like that Nightbot can do that. Now, the other thing that I'm bringing home, because we're packing up, is lemons. I grew these from seed, and they were just in the little peat pots. And so then I covered them with soil so they have more soil, because I don't want to transplant them into individual pots until I get home. And so they get morning sun all the way to about 1 or 2 o'clock, and they seem to really like it. And you can see some of them are more advanced than other ones. I'm going to take this down. Beam NG MBTV. Well, welcome. And let me go like that, and it shows his channel. See, Henry writes it. It's amazing. It's technology, I tell you. Now, this week has been kind of lucky for me. So, I won these. They're watercolors. It's 4 watercolor cards. Actually, an artist friend of mine, Louise, painted these, and they were given away at the hobo dinner. And I won, and I was so excited to get them. And then this morning, I was a winner. Look what I won. Is this so fun or what? It's a little pig. I thought it was a bank when I first saw it, but it doesn't have anything, and it doesn't have anything in the bottom that's big enough. I mean, it's got 2 little holes. Oh, it tells me how much they paid for it too. But it was a giveaway this morning at breakfast, and I liked it. I don't usually put my name in the drawing, and I thought, whoo, I'd like to have that. And then I won. And then everybody said, oh, rigged. So I said that was really funny, because I told them I don't usually put my name in, but I'm putting my name in because I want to win this pig. And then the girl that drew my name. So that was kind of fun. Roy boy. Wow, something new for me to do. I must have missed something. Now, how many of you, when you're doing your vegetables, have had the seeds start growing inside the vegetable? Now, today, it was the pumpkins that I cut open, and it had 15 different pumpkins growing in there. The other thing that I've cut open apples, and the seeds are growing inside, and tomatoes. And I do believe one time I think it was a green pepper that the pepper seeds had started to grow inside. But it's interesting. Now, that said, there are things you can do to make that happen all the time. Though you're not going to pull them apart until they start to sprout. So what you could do, you can literally put an entire tomato in a pot or in the ground and leave it over the winter. And some of those seeds will survive, and they will start to grow, and then you can thin them out. You can slice it, the tomato, and bury that whole slice. Don't take the seeds out, just bury the whole slice and put it in a pot, and it will grow tomatoes. Now, you do have to thin it because you'll have a lot of tomato seeds. But that's okay. A lot of times when I am starting my seeds, so like when I get home in a couple weeks, I will have to start lots of seeds. And so one of the things I do is I make these paper pots, and I have a video from, I don't know, 2 years ago on how to make paper pots. You can just look it up on my channel, paper pots. And I'll put like 30 tomato seeds in that one, because there are seeds that aren't going to germinate, because I saved my own seeds. And so some of them are not just, they're just not going to germinate. But there's enough of that do. And so what I do is, when I have a whole bunch of them and they have their true leaves, I literally just rip that bag apart and I put that soil with all those roots in water. And then you can just kind of shake it around and just tease all of those tomatoes out. And then you can individually plant them in another pot. It doesn't hurt them at all. And it just makes it so that when you're very first starting, maybe you only have a little tiny space, but you want to grow a lot of things. But right then you only have a little tiny space. And so it's an easy thing to do. It's right. 30 easily. Sometimes I have more than that in one of those paper pots. But then I have to thin them. And you just have to know, if you're going to do that, you have to thin them. A lot of times when I'm growing onions from seed, I have tons in a little square. I mean, like hundreds. And I let them all start to grow up, give them a haircut. And then when I'm ready to plant outside, I can just take that, put it in some water, tease it, and just pull each one of those out without ruining or hurting the roots. It's just something to do. And I don't usually have this many live plants when I'm packing up and going home. But with my grafting of my apple trees, if I don't get my rootstock in order in January and February, they always send them in March. No matter where you live, you're basically getting them in March. There's a few companies that will send them a little bit later. They're never as good. So I have to order them down here. Well, I could have cut from my trees if I was back in Wyoming, the scions, but since I wasn't, I had to order some. But I do have some great friends out there that, though I did order a few from regular companies, most of them came from people I know that have orchards. And so I have a total of 150 trees that I'm bringing back in 6 5-gallon buckets. And they will fit in the back, plus Reagan. And then I'll put the tomatoes in there. I probably will have enough room in between all those trees to put like my toothache plants, my zucchinis, stuff like that. So all of those plants can go where they're not going to get too cold. Now the garlic, I can put it in the back. It doesn't matter if it gets cold. It doesn't care. And so I'll just set those on a box or by the wheel well or something when we load it up. But I really think we're going to have a lot more room this time going back home than usual, where sometimes it's just like so packed in there, because other than this year, I have always brought my kiln down, and I didn't bring my kiln. Will I sell any? Actually, when I get home, I have a friend that has gotten me buckets. And so I'll put some drill holes in there, and each one of those trees will go in a different bucket all summer long. They're just going to be at my house. I'll water them. If I need to prune them when they start to grow, I can do that. But most of the time, I don't like to prune them when it's their first year. Now, by the end, they will have sent out some laterals, some branches, and I will sell some of them this fall. The rest of them, I will pack with straw all around them. I'll put wire so rabbits don't eat on the trunk. And I will sell them next year when they're basically a 2-year plant. And they will be much bigger. They'll probably be 5 feet tall. I've had a nursery license for a very long time in Wyoming, so that I can sell seeds and I can sell plants and stuff like that. And I've used it somewhat, but not very much. And this year, one of my goals is to use my nursery license a lot. And so hence my line of seeds that, in fact, I will put that That's where my Shopify is, where you can order some of the seeds. I don't have everything online yet, but I will have it so that you can order individual packets or you can buy the whole set. And, I always save my tomato seeds and all that stuff. So later on, I will actually even have more seeds. So I'm kind of excited about that and seeing all that will happen. You can go to the bakery at the grocery stores and they will usually give their empty pails. I have done that so many times, Teresa. But a friend of mine, he knows a restaurant owner, and they had just stacks and stacks of buckets. And he said, he asked me and Angie, do you want any of those? And I said, yes, any or all of them. And so they put them in their garage, and I will pick them up in Rapid City when we get home, because we'll drive over to see the grandkids and kids. And so we'll just drive in the truck, and then I'll just load the truck with all those pots, and it'll be perfect. And we'll get them before I want to plant them outside. I'll keep them either in our garage or in the greenhouse for a while, because in Wyoming, even when we get home, there is huge chances of frost and snow still. So I just want to be careful. Paul says that he tries to save lots of seeds from the garden too. It's so economical for you. You find a variety that you like. Now, could some things cross-pollinate? Depending on what it is, it's true. It could cross-pollinate sometimes. But there are a lot of heirlooms that don't cross-pollinate. Now, squashes and pumpkins, they can cross-pollinate. Zucchinis can cross-pollinate. But like an heirloom tomato won't cross-pollinate. So, you could make it cross-pollinate, but it won't naturally cross-pollinate. And so it's true. It's a true seed. Well, Brandy and Charlie, how are ya? I missed their live. I think it was yesterday, by just a little bit. And it was like, oh, well, crap. So, sorry, Mr. Live. I've been trying to catch up on them. In fact, I talked to my members this morning. Every Monday morning, membership, 99 cents. I always do a membership video every Monday morning. But I was telling them that this year, I just thought I have just been in a funk. Even before, when my grandson passed away, it's just been a hard winter for me. And it was just like, you got to get out of this, girl. Oh, Teresa, she says she ordered for me. I will check when I get off of here. Thank you. We are glad to see your smiling face. Oh, you guys are so sweet. Mary Ranch, how are you? Stopping in to say hello. Love you, Sandi. That is so sweet of you. Thank you very much, Mary Ranch. If you guys don't know Mary Ranch, she is one of a kind. I tell you, she has just been so amazing to so many channels. So, Mary, I just very appreciate that. That is so kind of you to do. Anyway, that's my Shopify, and it's on the videos now. So it's even on this video. You can look in the in the description. So I'll take that back down off of there. But it's kind of stressful when you go back and forth. Not for a long time, but for a little while. Like, there's all kinds of people that have already left the village down here. About half of them stay year-round now. Maybe a little bit more than half stay year-round now. And half don't. So by us, other than mom and dad, everybody around us stays all the time. And so I don't ever have to worry about our house down here. Plus, there's security that drives through 3 times a night, So it's pretty safe. They rarely have trouble. And so I just thought, I can't keep moving all these things back and forth. I just have to have things down here and things over there. and over in Wyoming. I just have to do it. It's just stressful to try to remember, okay, did I bring this down there or didn't? I just have to have two of a lot of things. Things that I use all the time, I just have to have two things. And so it's just one of those things that I have to do. There are people that bring their things down every single time. Now, when you buy a place down in Arizona, if you guys haven't ever been into one of the villages or housing projects, when you buy a place down here in a park, the furniture is there. It's not like you have to bring furniture or buy furniture. People leave their furniture unless the people buying literally say, I don't want any of this furniture. I mean, everything is in the cupboards, your washer and dryer is here, your furniture, your beds, everything is here. And so that helps on things you don't have to do. But you do have to think of, okay, what am I going to do this season? What do I need to bring? And Steve is here. Steve from Wyoming. How are you? We are at our vacation home too and headed back on Friday. Oh, good thing you're not leaving till Friday, because did you see our weather back home? It is going to be bad. I'm sure Interstate 80 will be closed partway. They already said that Interstate 90 was going to be closed from Wall to the state line. But if the snow comes like it says, it'll be even farther on 90 too. And we had friends that are leaving this week. It's like, why are you leaving right now? You're going to run into snow. But people just decide that's when they're leaving. And that's just what happens. Yeah. Oh, Debbie's here. So glad to see you heading back to Wyoming. Looks like it's going to be really pretty after the next 3 days. I saw that Cheyenne had changed the amount of snow that you're going to get now. It's lowered it. The next 3 days are going to have snow and cold. Because that's yesterday when I was reading stuff, it was like, oh man, up to 2 feet, different places in Wyoming. But then I read this it was this afternoon actually, that Cheyenne, they had backed it out and thought about more like 6 inches where you are. So that is kind of nice. And I know, ready for spring. Now, if you haven't been to Wyoming in the spring and summer, it is a beautiful place to be. I mean, you can go from prairie to mountains to raging rivers, to quiet streams and lakes, and it's just an amazing place to live. And so I'm totally excited. What spring? Points to the snow outside. I know it. My one daughter this morning says to me, it's supposed to be spring and we're getting snow today. That's just the way it is sometimes. We really need the snow for the moisture. That's true. However, I would be thrilled to just have rain showers. Nothing is rain showers here, though it's hailstorms. Yeah, Wyoming can have hailstorms. But I would still take snowstorms and hailstorms over tornadoes. I mean, Wyoming does have tornadoes once in a while, but not really a huge amount of times. And I watched those people through the South the last couple of weeks, and it's like, I would rather have 10 feet of snow than that. It's just, I feel so bad for them. And my mom was telling me some people that are here in Yuma, I think they are from Ohio, and farmland. And the tornado went through a couple weeks ago, and it destroyed everything on their farm. Half a mile away where their son lives, it didn't do anything to their farm. So luckily they can do that, stay there. But now they're down here for right now. But I guess it just took everything. The house, the barns, every outbuilding. And that's tough. And I mean, my prayers go out to those people. Like, it's just crazy. And just so many of them. Like, I think 2 days ago, there was 100 different tornadoes, different parts of the United States. How is that possible? It is hard. Yeah. We call spring snow poor man's fertilizer. It is good fertilizer though, especially when it's wet and it just wants to take a while to soak down in there into your soil. It is fabulous. But over the next 2 weeks, because my topic is packing up and going home, I start making lists of things I want to take, things I know I'm going to leave here, things I have to give away. Because no matter how much you try to eat down all of your stuff, there's always stuff to give to your neighbors. And so Ellie usually gets the most of it. She's a little Hispanic lady that lives behind us. She is just the sweetest thing ever. And she grows so many plants and cacti, and her yard is just like amazing. And so she usually gets all of our stuff that we don't keep. Now, canned goods, I started storing in the oven. That was a suggestion from one of the gals down here because it's really well insulated. So even though it can be 110 or 120 out, the insulation in there will preserve your canned goods. Now, flour doesn't really store very good here, so I give that away. It's interesting. You just have to figure out what you can save and anything in your freezer or refrigerator, you have to give to somebody. So you try to, use that up, or you just know you're going to give it to somebody. Diana, hello. You're having a tropical heat wave at 46 degrees. Woohoo! But when you're used to being cold, and the sun's out and it's 46 degrees, it can feel warm. It's like, I think I'll put my t-shirt on. I wish you were a leader of the Master Garden program here in Laramie. I have been putting in my volunteer hours. I feel like the odd man out, if you know what I mean. Oh, send me an email and we'll talk about that, because I know people down in Laramie, and I don't want you to feel that, because Debbie became a master gardener in Wyoming, and where I live, where I'm from, we have a great master gardener program. We're in the northern part of Wyoming, northeast corner, and Debbie is in the southeast corner. We don't call snow fertilizer. We call it in the way white stuff. What can be in the way? That is true. It's kind of interesting though. Oh, Jesus says it's supposed to be almost 80 here tomorrow with a chance of tornadoes again. Oh, be careful. That is just so dangerous. Just be so careful. Hiding in the bathroom, in the bathtub with a mattress over you if you have to. Just to protect you. I'm going to have to let you go. I have to fix Joe's supper. It's at 33 minutes. In 27 minutes, the Vineyard Chicks are live. And so pop in and see them. And, let's see what Charmaine says. And if you have an automatic ice maker, be sure to shut the water off before you leave. My parents went on vacation and totally flooded the basement in their house because the hose of the ice maker. Oh, see, that's always good to know, but I don't have a refrigerator that has an ice maker. But I think you have to think about these things. Like, our water system stays on, though we shut it off to the house, but I have my fruit trees and my flower bed that has the banana trees. And so I have to make sure that that gets watered all summer long, or that would have been a waste of my money. And, they're starting to produce, and I want them to grow big and healthy. 80 degrees in Tucson right now. We are cooler today. We are 68, but it was 86 yesterday. And then tomorrow it is supposed to be, it's our coldest day. I think it's only supposed to get high of 69. I think it probably got 75 today. And then it goes 70s, 70s, and it's 80s and 90s. So it's just that cool front that's going across the United States. Debbie says she's been watching all those folks in East Tennessee. I know in North Carolina, just crazy. Yeah. Oh, thankfully I have a basement. Always a good place to go in a tornado. If you don't have a basement, your bathroom is your next best one. And Henry, do you see that she's asking where in Vermont that you're living? So if you don't want to write it on the chat, you'll have to send her a message, okay? But everybody, I'm going to let you go. Make sure, if you remember, and I do not have your address because I'm doing Easter cards tonight and I want to mail those all out tomorrow. So send me an email. But everybody, thank you so much for everything. I appreciate it. Always give me a thumbs up because that helps with my analytics. I always appreciate that. Mary Ranch, thank you very much. You are so sweet. Everybody, see you next time.